How to choose the right second act, avoiding expensive reinvention mistakes. This is Second Act Naija Season 2, and I want to challenge you that not every second act is the right second act for you. Some reinvention mistakes are extremely expensive, and at whatever age you are, you may not want to do experiments. Good evening, thoughtful ladies watching and gentlemen. One of the most dangerous moments in transition is not retirement itself. It is what happens immediately after retirement. After living structured careers, many professionals suddenly feel pressure to quickly find something to do. And unfortunately, that urgency often leads to costly mistakes. Some rush into businesses they do not understand. Some invest emotionally instead of strategically. Some copy what their friends are doing. Some pursue second acts built entirely around ego preservation. And some people spend enormous amounts of money trying to recreate the feeling of importance they once received from their office. But I believe something important. Not every second act is meant for everyone. And choosing the wrong second act can create emotional frustration, financial strain, identity confusion, exhaustion, disappointment, and in some cases, deep regret. Because reinvention is not merely about staying busy. It is about alignment. Alignment between your experience, your values, your energy, your health, your temperament, your finances, and generally the kind of life you want to build next. And that is what I want us to think about this evening. How do thoughtful professionals choose the right second act? And how do they avoid expensive reinvention mistakes? Your goal should not just be activity, just to create activity. Your goal should be alignment, proper alignment. So principle number 1, do not reinvent from panic. One of the worst ways to begin a second act is to start from the threshold of fear. Fear of irrelevance. Some people have fear of being forgotten, fear of financial uncertainty, fear of suddenly feeling unnecessary. And because of fear, many people now rush. Rushed intervention often produces unstable outcomes. Some professionals move from highly respected careers into unsuitable ventures simply because they feel pressured to remain visibly active. The second act should not be a panic response. It should be a thoughtful design process. Mark that. Principle number 2, your experience still matters. Nobody can take it away from you. Many professionals make another dangerous mistake. They assume retirement means starting life completely from zero. But that is often unnecessary. You are not empty-handed and you're not empty-headed. You are carrying decades of insight, decades of relationships, decades of judgment, decades of pattern recognition, decades of leadership lessons, and accumulated wisdom. Those things still have value. Sometimes the best second act is not abandoning your experience, but redesigning that experience. Again, I say to you before we go to the next principle, do not throw away decades of value simply because one chapter ended. Principle number 3, know your temperament. And this is extremely important. Not every successful professional is wired for the same kind of second act. Some people are builders, some are teachers, some are advisors, some are creators, some are organizers, some are mobilizers that can go into politics. Some are nurturers, some are natural born communicators, some are institution builders, quiet. And many second acts fail because of personality mismatch. For example, a person who dislikes uncertainty may struggle in highly volatile entrepreneurship. A deeply reflective person, on the other hand, may thrive more in mentoring, writing, teaching, or advisory work. Some others need flexibility. That's all they want. That's all that matters to them. Others need structure. Some enjoy visibility. They want to be out there. Others prefer quiet contribution. The right second act should fit who you truly are, not merely what looks impressive socially. Principle number 4, respect your energy and health reality. A person at 60, at 55 should not design life exactly like a person at 30. This is important. Some professionals unconsciously attempt to prove they're still young by creating unnecessarily exhausting lifestyles after retirement. But wisdom includes realism. Your second act should support sustainability, health, emotional balance, and long-term quality of life, not constant exhaustion. Principle number 5, do not build your second act around ego. Please, please, please. This may be one of the most dangerous traps. Many professionals unconsciously pursue second acts designed mainly to preserve their status, to remain important, to remain addressed, to remain admired. But there is a difference between meaningful contribution and ego maintenance. Some people enter unsuitable ventures simply because they cannot emotionally accept that one season of life has faded. Where do you see yourself in this? But maturity requires emotional honesty. Your second act should not become a desperate attempt to recreate your old title in another form. The goal is not to recreate the past. Your goal should not be to recreate your past. The goal is to intentionally design what comes next. This takes us to principle number 6, very important. Align with your financial reality. Different second acts carry different financial realities. Some require patience, some require capital, some require low risk tolerance, some require immediate income. And wise reinvention requires financial clarity, not fantasy. Some professionals damage retirement stability because they enter emotionally exciting but financially dangerous ventures without proper assessment. Your second act should not destroy the life you already spent decades building. Principle number 7, design the life you actually want. Some people want flexible workspaces. Some people want peaceful routines. Some secretly want quieter lives. Some want flexibility. Some want meaningful contribution. Some want reduced pressure. Some want more family time. Some want slower mornings. Some want a lot of travel. Some want spiritual depth. Some want creative expression. But they unconsciously design second acts that recreate the exact stress patterns they were trying to escape. Your second act should support the kind of life you truly want to live, not merely the image you want others to see of you. Principle number 8. A good second act usually serves others. One thing becomes increasingly clear with age. Meaning often deepens through contribution. The second act becomes more fulfilling when your experience begins helping somebody beyond yourself. That contribution may happen through mentoring, teaching, leadership, guidance, writing, service, or institutional building. But meaningful contribution tends to create deeper fulfillment than endless self-preservation. And so finally, tonight, choosing the right second act is not about copying trends. It is not about competing with younger people. And it is not about proving that you are still important. It is about intentional alignment, because the real question is not simply, what can I do next? The deeper question is, what kind of life do I now want to build? And perhaps that is one of the greatest opportunities hidden inside transition. For the first time in many years, many professionals finally have the opportunity to redesign life more consciously, more intentionally, more honestly, more meaningfully. And that redesign deserves deep thought, not panic, not imitation, not drift, but wisdom. In our next conversation, we're going to examine something even deeper: why some retirees thrive and others collapse. Because retirement does not only expose finances, it exposes identity, it exposes structure, it exposes relationships. Retirement exposes emotional health and the life we were truly building all along. And that is a conversation many professionals desperately need. I'm Obayemi Oladipo, and this is Second Act Naija. Reinvent, rebuild, rise. Thank you.